Today I did a community post on what video you guys want the most, and you all picked Harry Potter movies ranked. And we will not be including any Fantastic Beasts movies on this list. So, let's rank them. And in last place is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Now, in my opinion, this is by far the worst of the Harry Potter movies. I like all of them, but in my opinion, this one is the worst. It takes most of the stuff about the book and trims it out and makes this small part, like the whole Ron and Lavender thing in the book is like quick. It's not very long. But in the movie, they extended it to be a very long thing. And it took up pretty much most of the movie instead of having things that are more interesting, which is what most of the book used, like Voldemort's past. So that's why it's super low on this list. Next up, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. So the reason why I don't have this higher is because it is a two-part story. In Part 1, it doesn't really leave off with any sort of... There's nothing satisfying about the end of the movie. Because everything satisfying is in Part 2. Which means it's just nonstop setup. And the reason why it isn't lower is because I feel like it is great if you're very much interested into the characters as I am. Because it's very much a character story. They focused the story more on the characters than hunting down the objects, which for the movie form, I feel like they did that way better. Next up is Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, this is a very controversial take that it's not higher. But the reason I don't have it higher is because, for one, it changes way too much from the book, and I feel like as a book-to-movie adaptation, it's terrible. But if it's just a standalone movie, it's very good, which is why it isn't in last place, but it's just a terrible book-to-movie adaptation of something, but it would be, like, way higher if this wasn't based on the Harry Potter books. Next up is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, something I like about this movie that improves from the first one is that we get to the mystery immediately and we don't have to do so much setup, which is a lot of what the first one was, is so that, in my opinion, the first one did a great job at world building, so this doesn't really need to add on to it as much, so it focuses the mystery as front and center. But in my opinion is I feel like they could have cut back some things and it felt a bit overly long. But I love almost everything else about this movie. Dobby, Lucius Malfoy, all the new characters in this movie are amazing. I feel like Chris Columbus did a very good job at directing it. The dialogue, the story, the book-to-movie adaptation was pretty great, so I really enjoy this movie. Next up is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, I really like this movie. It handled a lot of things really well. I love the way that they handled Sirius's death in the movie, and especially Daniel Radcliffe's reaction to that. That was some amazing acting from him. They played out Umbridge as a really good villain, so you just loved to hate her. And basically anything bad that happened to Umbridge was just so satisfying. And also this movie had quite a bit of, they did a really good job on the comedy in it. And also I like pretty much everything that was not in the book. Like the whole subplot about Harry fighting with Voldemort in his mind, that was a great part. And that wasn't even in the books at all. So overall, it's a really good movie. Coming in third place is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The first movie is still one of the best. Now, I feel like this movie does an amazing job at world building and playing out the story. Just the way that the movie keeps presenting everything to us is really good. They did a good job at starting out all the characters, and overall, it might be one of my favorite starts to a franchise ever. It is such a good start to it, and also, even though it is a start, it still has a really good story in it. And it has good characters with pretty good character arcs. And that's why it comes in third place. In second place is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, for a while, I actually had this movie quite low on the list. It tends to change the spot depending on my rewatch. But I really enjoy this movie quite a bit the last time I rewatched it. Something good about this movie is the first three can drag out a bit and can seem kind of boring. In this, they make you interested the whole way through. And there's not like a single moment that you're like, maybe this didn't need to be added. So, in my opinion, it does a very good job at adapting to the book to the movie, and it also does a good job at showing on how Harry and his friends are growing up. I just think it is a very good movie overall, and it's one of the probably the best book to movie adaptation for this in terms of like handling everything that was in the book. Coming in first place though is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now, if you've seen my top 5 favorite movies video, you know this is like my third favorite movie of all time. I love this movie. In my opinion, it's the perfect end to the Harry Potter movie franchise. It handles everything right. It makes small, weird characters from the beginning get to kill like one of the most powerful villains in the world. It gives every single character their own little moment to shine, and everyone gets great character arcs throughout it. And in my opinion, it ends off the series almost perfectly. In my opinion, it's an almost perfect movie in general. So that's why it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will see you in another video.